Have you ever wondered how some people seem to have an uncanny ability to influence others? It's as if they possess a secret power, a key that unlocks the enigma of the human mind. Today we're going to explore this mystery. We're going to delve into the realm of psychological techniques. Psychological techniques are strategies employed to influence people's thoughts, behaviors, and decisions. They're not just tools for psychologists and marketers, but they're also used by all of us, often without realizing it. It's the way we frame our words when we want to convince a friend, or the subtle actions we take to make someone feel comfortable around us. Every day, in every interaction, these techniques are at play. The power of influence isn't exclusive to a select few. It's a skill that can be learned and honed. Prepare to delve into the mysterious world of the mind as we count down the top 10 psychological techniques. Starting at number 10, we have a technique known as the door in the face. Picture this. Someone makes an outlandishly large request that you're likely to refuse. Then, they follow up with a much smaller request. Suddenly, that smaller request seems reasonable, doesn't it? This technique, often used in negotiations and sales, leverages the power of contrast to make a smaller request seem much more appealing. It's a fascinating insight into how our minds evaluate and respond to choices we're presented with. At number 9, we encounter the foot in the door technique. This clever strategy involves making a small request first, to which most people will readily agree. Once the initial request is accepted, it's much easier to follow up with a larger, more significant ask. Picture this. You agree to sign a petition, and next thing you know, you're volunteering weekly for the cause. It's a fascinating example of how our desire for consistency can lead us to agree to larger requests. Moving on to number 8, we have the scarcity principle. This concept is quite straightforward. It's all about creating a sense of urgency and exclusivity. Think about those limited time offers or last chance sales. The scarcity principle works on the notion that people are more attracted to items or opportunities that are rare or dwindling. It's a powerful psychological trigger that can make us act impulsively, driven by our fear of missing out. This technique capitalizes on our fear of missing out. Number 7 brings us the authority principle. This powerful psychological technique leverages our inherent respect for figures of authority. It's why we're more likely to follow advice from a doctor or a professor than from a random stranger. We see this principle in action every day, from obeying traffic signs to following workplace protocols. It's a testament to our instinctual deference to perceived expertise and authority. Remember, it's a fine balance between respectful compliance and blind obedience. We tend to follow those who appear to know what they're doing. At number 6, we find the reciprocity principle. This psychological technique is deeply ingrained in our social fabric, suggesting that we are wired to return a favor when one is bestowed upon us. Consider the instance when a friend helps you move. Almost instinctively, you feel an obligation to help them in the future. This principle plays a significant role in shaping our interactions, often leading to a cycle of mutual influence. We feel compelled to return favors, creating a cycle of mutual influence. Halfway through our countdown at number 5 is social proof. This psychological phenomenon is where people mirror the actions of others in an attempt to reflect correct behavior. Think about the last time you chose a bustling restaurant over an empty one. That's social proof in action. The underlying belief is that if many people are doing it, it must be right. This powerful technique is used in marketing, politics, and everyday interactions. Remember, we are more likely to do something if we see others doing it. Approaching the top at number 4 is the liking principle. This psychological technique suggests that we're naturally drawn towards people we find appealing or share common interests with. Picture this. You're more likely to buy a car from a salesman who shares your love for vintage automobiles, right? Similarly, you might find yourself agreeing with a colleague who has the same taste in music. The liking principle impacts our decisions, swaying us subtly in daily interactions. Remember, we are more likely to be influenced by people we like. In third place, we encounter the commitment principle. This psychological technique hinges on our inherent desire to be consistent with what we've previously said or done. Imagine making a small, initial commitment, perhaps to a cause or a goal. This small step often leads to larger actions in the same direction, driven by our need for consistency. It's like planting a seed that grows into a mighty tree. The power of this principle is significant. Once we commit to something, we are more likely to follow through. Runner-up at number 2 is the consistency principle. This intriguing psychological technique hinges on our inherent desire to appear consistent in our behavior. Think about it. When we make a commitment, we're more likely to follow through because it's consistent with our self-image. A classic example is the gym membership. We commit to fitness, buy the membership, and, driven by consistency, we find ourselves hitting the treadmill regularly. We strive to be consistent in our thoughts, words, and actions, don't we? Finally, at number 1, the most powerful technique of all, the influence of persuasion. This technique is not just about convincing someone to see things from your perspective, but rather about subtly steering their thoughts and emotions in a desired direction. It's like being a skilled puppet master where the strings are your words and the puppet is the mind of the listener. Take, for instance, a politician delivering a stirring speech. They aren't merely presenting facts and figures, but are painting a compelling picture, tugging at heartstrings, and subtly nudging the listeners to align with their viewpoint. It's an art, a dance of words and emotions. The influence of persuasion is not limited to politics, though. It's employed in advertising, negotiations, even in everyday conversations. It's a tool of immense power, and like any tool, it can be used for both good and bad. Mastering this technique can open doors to unimaginable possibilities. And there you have it, the top 10 psychological techniques. We've journeyed through the enigmatic terrain of the human mind, from the door-in-the-face technique, a clever strategy of request and denial, to the foot-in-the-door technique, where agreement to a small request paves the way for compliance with a larger one. We've explored the scarcity principle, where the perceived rarity of something enhances its appeal, and the authority principle that highlights our tendency to obey figures of authority. We've delved into the reciprocity principle, which relies on returning favors and social proof, where we mirror the actions of others. We've also discovered the liking principle, which suggests we're more likely to be influenced by those we like. The commitment principle, where our desire for consistency leads us to follow through on our commitments. And finally, the influence of persuasion, the power to alter beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. With these techniques, you hold the power to influence minds. Use them wisely.